Hi, I'm Brock for More Pixels and welcome to another dev diary for our game Chord. In this video, we creep even closer to being completed on this game, making a few new mechanics and starting to build levels. For those new here, Chord is a small mobile puzzle game where you play as a Chord and try to reach the endpoint without dying or running out of moves, and we plan to release this game within the coming months. Over the last 2 weeks, we haven't really made the most amount of progress, but the things that we have completed will help us get even closer to being able to release the game. Luke and I had a meeting to discuss what mechanics the ancient temple area of our game should have, and we decided on 2 things, spikes and also a projectile trap. The first thing that I started on creating was the projectile trap. The main idea for this was that every 5 seconds an arrow would be shot out of a hole in the wall, and if it hit the player would die. It was pretty simple to create and was just creating a timer that every 5 seconds a projectile would spawn moving forward until colliding with something. These will probably be mostly used in the indoor areas as that's where they make the most sense coming from, as they feel like traps as you get closer towards the end of each level. The next thing that I created was the spikes. Creating this was similar to the projectile trap, in the sense that every 5 seconds something would happen. For the spikes, I've made it so that every 5 seconds it switches states. The first state is disabled, which means if you're on the tile during this time, it just acts the same as every other ground tile and nothing happens. In the active state, however, if the player is on the spikes or go into the spikes, or on the tile and the spikes activate, they will die. Luke also created the art that fits both of these mechanics with spikes with animations for this and also holes in the wall for the projectile trap. Next, Luke and I worked together on trying to find sounds for the game. The sounds that we found or created consist of pickup sounds, level complete, level fail, power requirement met, plugging in for the endpoint and extendo cord, and also a swipe sound effect for the multi-room feature. We were initially also going to add sounds for the spikes and projectile trap, but we realized that if you aren't in the same room as these things, you'd be able to hear them, and then it wouldn't make sense. I could have made it so that if you're in the same room you can hear it, and if you aren't, you can't hear it, but eventually we decided against doing this for just scrapping the sounds completely. Going into the past week, I didn't have as many tasks to do, but still just as much work, if not more. One of the first things I started doing was finishing up the audio settings now that there were game sound effects in the game. The settings just include 2 different sliders, one which controls the music volume, and one which controls the game sound effect volume. Before starting to build levels, I went on to updating all the art that Luke had sent me. This included updating the tile set, which now included the indoor building materials, the extendo cord art, and the new pickup art. I also cleaned up the inspector for the game manager as I needed it nice and tidy to be able to find things for building levels. As before I did it, it was not good, and everything was all over the place. After that, I went on to start creating levels for the first level pack in the game. We have thought that we should add a good amount of levels to each level pack to keep players interested for longer, and it also means there can be a slower progression to the harder levels, since there are multiple mechanics to introduce along the way. I currently haven't got all the levels for this pack done, although over the coming weeks in my spare time I will be planning and creating more levels, trying to get towards 50 levels in the pack. I have thought that 50 levels would be a good minimum, although that may change depending on the difficulty progression throughout all the levels and if the mechanics feel stale or boring by the time 50 levels pass, although I think we should be able to get that in there comfortably without things getting boring. And with that, that's everything that we managed to add to the game over the past 2 weeks. We're hoping that we can start getting more levels created quickly, as with our plan, we're ready to start the next level pack, which has the theme of space. If you have any ideas or feedback you would like to share about the game, please do leave a comment, as this would really be appreciated. I would like to thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like and feel free to subscribe. If you want to see some behind the scenes development, be sure to follow us all on Twitter, as I'll be starting to share some more development stuff on there, whether it is new mechanics or weird bugs that occur along the process of creating the game. Again, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.